Is this a good movie? No. Would I recommend this movie to you? No. Did I get a little bit enjoyment out of this, out of guilty pleasure? I did. Gale the Yellow Brick Road takes place decades after the events of The Wizard of Oz. So The Wizard of Oz, again, are canon, it's not rewriting anything. It's basically a returning to Oz with a different family member, where we follow Emily, Dorothy's granddaughter, as she's trying to figure out what is going on until we get the reveal of what is going on in the movie. And that is simply the best way I can describe this movie. So let's talk about the pros. Now, I want to acknowledge that this movie is not great. These are all my guilty pleasures that are pros for me. And that is going to, first up is Patches. Patches was my favorite character of the movie. Did the look of Patches catch me off guard? First appearing on screen, yes. But did I kind of vibe with it throughout the movie and the performance? Because this is a non-speaking performance, so I think they do, good job with what they're given. And you have to deal with a screen person every few minutes where you're trying to calm down. So, honestly, I vibe with you, Patches. I mean, I like Patches. I think they do a good job with what they're given. Another role I think does a good job with what they're given, and this is the other one I will announce here, is the one behind it. Can stereotypes be written in? Yes. But do they do a decent job with what they're given for this type of movie? Yes. I mean, she is convincing at one point, so, I mean, honestly, fine job what she's given. And I think the effects work fine. Yeah, effects are fine in this movie. There was one moment in CG that I'm like, you know what? I don't entirely hate how it looks, so there's something. And I do like one scene that felt very Aussie with one room involving like 1 year. I think that looked fine. So, and there are little things from The Wizard of Oz, like statues and like little box that I didn't hate either. I'm like, you know what? Didn't entirely hate that element of it. And there was one other thing we get with the house. I'm like, I don't entirely hate it, but it's not feeling Aussie. So, let's talk about the negatives, which there are many. I'm going to start off with the one thing that most disappointed me, and that is the lack of Oz. Finishing off with the way I just started. Those two things I pointed out, which was that a room towards the end and that little house thing, honestly are the only moments where it felt like Oz. Everything else just did not really feel like Oz, and that was very disappointing. Did I expect like a Wicked level thing? No, not at all. But it just lacked Oz. And the main two places that we do follow, I can get one with like the just cover, okay? How you get to that one room towards the end, I can't explain to you. But having a yellow brick road is so misleading, because all it is just yellow bricks every now and then thrown in there. Like, you went to a forest and you just threw bricks everywhere. It just didn't feel like very Aussie, and that was extremely, extremely disappointing for this movie for me. Next up is Emily. Emily didn't start to annoy me until we got to Oz. And she just, the stereotype where you just keep screaming? She did that until she learned to shut up. So that was annoying. And her performance is not great as lead either, which does not help. So not a fan of you, Emily, sorry. Well, let's talk about the acting. It's not great, but you know what? Those two, I think, with what they were given, y'all, they did fine. Eric stereotype, not a fan of though. Honestly, not really a big fan of Ariel stereotype. But that's just me. Another thing was the story is going to be a complaint. I'm not saying the story is good, but the way I understand the movie, it kind of works with what they're going for. But I mean, it works with what they're going for, but the story isn't good and the movie's not good. But with what they're going for, they do kind of achieve it. So I mean, it works with what they're going for. It's just not done well at all. And from where I understand the story, which I will talk about how I kind of understand the story, because I think again, there are things I cannot explain, of course. There are things, again, you cannot explain in this movie. The two mothers, I can't begin to explain how that works to you. I don't. Does that mean I can't explain that. How she got there, I can, maybe. I have my own theories about that. So, not great. So, And for a movie, it had weird transitions, so that's kind of in there at some points, you know. And this had a stereotypes all, of course, throughout. So, and just, you know, because it doesn't work. Not a fan. So let's now, and the book I can't fully explain unless it's the mother. I don't know. Let's talk about spoilers. So 2 things I forgot. The Tin Man's in this. I don't know why he is in this, because you only get to one look at the Tin Man, who plays no role prior to this, and he looks really bad, and you get like one look at body part that does not look good either. I don't know why they put him in here. Does not look good. The opening also is weird, and the fact that it feels like a haunted house with generic scares and bad acting. So, not really a big fan of the opening. It's quite weird and different compared to the rest of the movie. The story is confusing to me, but the way I choose to look at it is because how Emily entered Oz is not excessively explained, but this is the way I'm choosing to take this movie. That kind of makes a little sense with makes sense kind of to me what's going on. So Emily finds the box. She reads the notebook and calls the number. She finds the place, which has all the like Wizard of Oz stuff, and I think that's how she enters Oz. So when she walks in, I think that's Oz. She goes into Oz, and that's how she enters Oz. I think that's how kind of what happens. So, and then mind you, this girl does not know what is going on at all until the very end. Like, she doesn't know she's in Oz at all, which I don't know, it's weird. So she goes, and she is not knowing what's going on, and it does a twist or reveal if you don't know what's going on either for a bit, and then you get the evil villain behind, which is of course the one that is behind it all, trying to take over, and she falls to manipulation, and that's when she runs into the truth. And how I think she defeats this person is, I think when she accepts Gale, I think she kind of accepts some responsibility, which defeats her. So like 3 generations kind of defeating her. And when she does the shoes, she's back in her apartment, her house. So the way I think what happened is when she fell over, she entered Oz. So she kind of drove that way, entered Oz, right? And mind you, she's messing with her this entire time. Like, she already had nightmares before, and I can't fully explain this. This is just the way I can only make sense of this movie. So she goes here, and when she does the shoe thing that wakes up in her basement, she's out of Oz. And that is the best way I am choosing to explain this movie. And she was messing with her in the entire movie. The therapist stuff, I think she got in her mind somehow. I can't explain that either. It's just it is confusing, but that's how I take it. She fell, entered Oz, she did the shoe thing, accepted her name. She got power over her, won, and went back home. Now let's talk about some lovely choices in this movie. Let's start with the screaming. I feel like if someone was telling you to shut up and like you showed trust, you should shut up. And she does that stereotype for so long until she doesn't. And just going back to the lack of Oz with this, just the yellows. I'm not okay. I get what they're going for. What happened? I'm not saying I don't. And I get the house is supposed to be like the castle disguised. I get that as manipulation. I get it. Okay. But just lack of it is so not great. In the end, I think, her getting over the mirror thing, it fits in, because you do get that from the start, so I don't entirely hate that. So, I mean, it's some growth I didn't mind in the movie, but that's like such a minor thing. I'm like, I kind of didn't realize till the end. I'm like, okay, you know what? Small thing thrown in there, but not bad. Just not great. So, overall, and before I exit this section, I can't explain the mother thing. I don't know if she'll die, she'll end up where her mother and her grandmother are. I can't explain that. I don't know how her mother even got there in the first place, how she died. I can't begin to explain that. I just can't. And I think the only ones I feel like Oz, if we're going like I was the one moment when she's at the end of that room. And then the house, when she finds a house. And she's in that house with Dorothy. Like, that's the only ones that really kind of felt like Oz. I mean, your house, I don't know. And Dorothy itself, like, Dorothy's character was something. I don't know how I entirely feel about that, but let's say Dorothy was something. How did Dorothy even know who she was? Like, she sounded like she knew who she was and she didn't. I don't know. So overall, this is not a great movie, but I did surprise myself by getting some guilty pleasure out of it, but no, it's not good, and I would not recommend this movie to y'all. So comment down below if you got the pleasure of seeing this movie, because this is literally the only showing of this movie was a Wednesday at 7 p.m. and that's the only showing, so I got that. So comment down below if you're seeing this streaming or not, or even heard about this. And I'll see you guys soon with a brand new